I'll tell you what the Cowboys did for back-to-back weeks that nobody thought the Cowboys could do, and that's stop the damn run, guys.
Ooh, stop the run, baby.
All we talked about going into this game was the Steelers to win would just have to run the ball. Let Justin Fields run. Let Najee Harris run the ball. Everybody thought that they were going to – we all thought – well, two Steelers fans that we had pregame thought that Justin Fields was going to run for 100 yards and multiple touchdowns. Justin Fields only ran for – let me get this little stat up here.
Bring that stat
Justin
up.
Fields only ran for – where's he at here? 6 carries for 27 yards. 6 carries for 27 yards. And that it's a telling stat because if you told me that that was all he was going to run for at this before the game, I would feel very confident with how the Cowboys defense was going to do. We've all shit on this Cowboys defense since the start of the year. They had a couple very bad games, especially against the run, but maybe having a couple of these backups in there that are hungry, that aren't necessarily sack guys or TFL guys. They just are a band of boys that get the job done. So the Cowboys went in there and they completely stifled the Pittsburgh Steelers rushing attack. But the reason I like that is they did it against the New York Giants the week before.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at these Pittsburgh Steelers rushing attack that you had up, go switch back up, get it up there. Get the stats back up there. So you look at these stats here, Najee Harris, 3 average, right?
Yep. Boo.
Champclin, none of us can pronounce his name. 3.5, garbage.
Boo.
Jonathan Ward, sure, had 2 carries, whatever, 9 yards, garbage. They, as a team, they rushed for 92 yards.
Yeah. Not even.
If you tell me the Pittsburgh Steelers are rushing for 92 yards going into yesterday's game, going into a game where they stopped or they held back the game for an hour and 45 minutes because of wet conditions and lightning, and you tell me that the Cowboys defense is going to hold them to 92 rushing yards, I like it. And that's coming off of back-to-back strong running defensive games for the Cowboys defense. And for how sad the Cowboys run defense has been, that was such a big takeaway for me. And one of the big reasons that the Cowboys ended up winning the game.
But Anthony, you also like to add a cherry on top. It's an even bigger feat because we're using our replacements for that stopping. We didn't have D-Law. We didn't have Micah Parsons. We lost Nealon. So we're playing with guys who don't necessarily come in as starters or weren't necessarily preparing to think that they're going to go up against a Pittsburgh Steelers ground and pound offense to make those stops.
Dare I say having Micah Parsons out of the lineup might help the running game because you'll see teams focus on attacking Micah Parsons in the running game. They'll game plan to just run at Micah Parsons. So if he's not there and you have a bunch of these unknown players, not to mention a guy like Chauncey Golston, who is a defensive tackle, you have him out there playing left end.
He stepped
and then
up.
You have Tyrus Wheat, and you have these guys that no one knows about. Maybe that's a little bit of the sprinkle that we needed in this defense. Maybe we needed some of the unknown blood for this Mike Zimmer defense. But not to mention, you can say with the Mike Zimmer defense, maybe guys are just starting to buy in. It's going to take, there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be the learning curve. Like you're looking at Chauncey Golston here, 5 total tackles. Sure, he only had 1 solo, but he was in there mucking about. So I just like to see this run defense not having 200 plus yards ran on it and holding a team to under 100 for back-to-back weeks.
Yep. I think another good thing to keep an eye on here is this battle between Kendricks and Overshown, 2 legitimate linebackers who continuously are leading the Cowboys in tackles. And like, I'm sure that was probably the case last year in most games, but it definitely feels like it's obvious linebackers are making those tackles and that the secondary is not having to make a lot of the tackles they were last year.
And you know what?
Guaranteed, I bet you could go back to a lot of games and the top 2 tackle guys are not both linebackers.
You're absolutely right. And definitely not in that type of range too with the numbers that they got up there.
Yeah, you can see Kendricks 10 total, DeMarvion Overshown 8 total. Sorry guys. And then Malik Hooker and Chauncey Goldstein are the next 2 guys with 5. So
and what we got for TFLs? We had Tyrus Wheat with the TFL, Dono Dubb with the TFL, Eric Kendricks with the TFL. Cowboys are getting some TFLs. Linval Joseph.
Yep.
So
and TFLs are great. TFLs are
We're TFL
TFLs
guys.
they're very similar to a sack,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, the other nice thing about
they're the equivalent when they're running the ball.
Yeah.
These down behind the line of scrimmage is huge.
Yeah.
the other nice thing too, like when you look at the defense, obviously there was a couple of like prime opportunities where they stopped the play. It could have been a turnover. I mean, how many, like there was 2 times to Marvin Overshown didn't get that interception. Malik Hooker was right in his hands, didn't get that interception. There was the fumble that happened that we didn't get on top of. So there was a lot of turnovers that this defense could have also added check marks or check boxes to their stat line. And so it's exciting to see this type of momentum. I think this is the type of a game that the defense needed to have going into the Lions. I want to see 2 to make it true. You know, you don't have our D-Law or Micah. If we can handle the run, man, we definitely are onto something here. And I think, you know, preparation is key, and having that defense discipline and run their run their assignments. I think that's basically kind of what this game showed, is they all handled their business, they handled their assignments, and we didn't see anyone trailing off. Anything else on defense there, Alex? Or
Just like you trailed off right there?
yeah, I was just waiting for someone to. I'm not used to not getting cut off, so I was waiting for someone to cut me off there.
No, I think, I was happy with the defense. Only 3 sacks total, but it doesn't matter. They really played better, much better than I expected, to be quite honest. And if you would have told me that without knowing the injuries, that the Steelers were going to be held to 17 points, I would have been like, yeah, of course, Parsons and Lawrence are playing, but they weren't in the game. So.
Yep.
It's good news. It's good news, man.
Back-to-back weeks holding your opponent under 20 points. You do that, you're going to win more games than you lose.